That's their youth group. The youth are into technology. The youth get it when I'm talking about Twitter and Facebook and social media and this and that and the other. And kind of the vision would be when you walk into the church on any given Sunday, every one of the youth groups should have a tablet around. Hey, did you see the website? Did you see the new website? It's really cool. Just showing people how to pay. Hey, we're getting rid of the offering plates.
This is what the church is using. We're using PayPal to make donations.
It's an arm and a leg.
Well, they're using PayPal and Cash App.
We can do a whole lot better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
That's,
can do a whole lot
that's
better.
highway robbery.
Yeah, for what they pay PayPal, they could use us and get PCI security and get our concierge and get ePay for probably the same money or less than they're paying for PayPal. So they can get more for less.
All fun and made. This is Spanish. Then this is like for offerings.
Mm-hmm.
And you just click here and it redirects you to the PayPal page.
Right.
So this is pretty much what it is.
Yeah. See, there's no security because once they direct it to PayPal, then it breaks the security and it's no longer in their website.
The other stuff that we have in ePay is like with the donation reporting back to the congregation. I guarantee you PayPal doesn't have that. You know what I mean? So there's going to be some features within our system. I don't know if they're doing the link with the shopping cart and the items, and there's a bunch of little different things. But, you know, in a nutshell, you should be able to get everything that we do for about the same money they're spending on that. So they're going to get our tech support and our security and straight up, you know, answers when they call. The same money we're spending on that.
Yeah, you're not
And I don't know if you've ever called PayPal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't even bother.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you do get a hold of them, it's going to be really
Exactly. So let me show you round 2, version 2, right? So you got this part implanted, right? Doctors take credit cards, lawyers take credit cards, restaurants, retailers, mail order, telephone order, travel agents, all these guys can take credit cards. Now, you ever heard of Dave Ramsey? He's a guy that goes into the churches and preaches and teaches financial freedom. And this is kind of along the line that you're thinking. This is where I'm thinking this is going to be a perfect angle for you. Because nobody's talking to the business owners with any sort of financial acumen and teaching them about what we have to offer. Right? So if we offered some free workshops, tie in the youth group with them walking around with these tablets. Every one of these companies hates their credit card company because nobody answers the phone, nobody gives them a straight answer, and they all seem to be from New York.
Talking to somebody way in Afghanistan somewhere.
Yeah, or whatever, or to India. Well,
Yeah.
appreciate the help. So here's the deal. What we can put together is we'll pay the church back a percentage. Let's say
You do that?
let's say that I want to donate 5%, you're going to donate 5%. I want to give to the same cause or whatever. So in your commission checks, we go through and sign up any of these guys. Not only does it create commission to you, we'll pay back the church whatever, you know, percentage. Exactly. So they actually get a royalty check from the congregation that already wants to give them money anyway.
Okay, you're saying so the doctors and lawyers are the people that's already attending that church.
We're just going to take over the doctor's credit card transactions, and we're going to save him money. We're going to take over this guy's transactions, we're going to save him money. We're going to save him money, and anybody that's willing to do business with us, we'll pay you back 10%.
From that congregation, and that money, plus we get our cut, but a percentage will go back to
Directly to the church.
Yeah, because you're at the back office directing the transaction.
And what a better format than while you're in church, you're not thinking about business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like your guard's down. You trust these guys? You know what? Maybe I'll give it a trust. I'll try them or whatever, and then they'll just, you know.
And it says.
So we've been working a long time on trying to get this really working, and it's not.
possibly.
It's
you
not
can
as easy, but let me tell you what, you get some magic going on here, you can really make
The
something.
church can, in a sense, double dip.
Absolutely.
Because not only they getting their percentage from the
And
business owners, but they also going to donate to the church anyway.
And nobody loses.
And nobody loses.
Everybody wins. The church wins, he wins, he wins. The only guy that loses is his old credit card company.
That's it.
I don't care, it's first data we're likely, you know?
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
So, we've got a couple churches we're starting this with. We've done some nonprofits, also the same way. The Prestige Club, you can go on to, and it's a local 501c3.
That's gonna be a hit, right?
It's really good, right?
That.
So Prestige Club is one that also we did the same thing with. Although they're not a church, it's a 501c3, and they have back to board members. Rick and Rita Case are on the board, Ron Bergeron, some big shots and that kind of stuff. All those guys aside, we just casually started mentioning what we do within this nonprofit. We signed up the dentist, we signed up a doctor, we're getting ready to sign up a bowling alley, whatever. And these merchants generally aren't as profitable to us as a travel merchant would be. So we don't mind giving away a little bit of nothing because there's not much there anyway, you know what I'm saying? And I do believe in karma. I absolutely believe in karma, man. So it's funny, when we were talking about different markets, I was thinking about going after the churches and what it would be like to deal with, and in the United States there's about 200,000 churches. I'd rather deal with 200,000 ministers than 200,000 like pawn shop owners, right? I could have gone after pawn shop owners. I'd rather deal with ministers than pawn shop owners. So not only I think is a good big book of business to go profit from, and again, everybody wins, it's a nice group of people. You know, it's not like dealing with convicts.
Based on those people, when they process their transaction, a percentage of it, whether how small, however how small it is going to go to this nonprofit.
Yep. So, and what I did for this particular nonprofit is when our salesman sells the deal, he normally gets 50%, and the house normally gets 50%. I've been donating my 50%, so we literally make nothing.
Right.
But they make a really nice royalty check.
Right.
You know, it adds up. American Society of Travel Agencies has done the same way. Virtuoso has done the same way. So we have about 8,000 in each group. About 8,000 with Virtuoso, about 8,000 with American Society of Travel Agencies.
Explain to them why the category of merchant of travel agency is far superior money-making wise
Sure.
compared to average
Yep.
business.
So whenever you see anything that's card in hand, it's going to be about 1/10 of the amount of profit. Excuse me. If you walked into a restaurant, an average restaurant doing, you know, 100K a month or about $1 million a year.
He's talking about card in hand.
Right. In a restaurant, because you're card in hand, you're face to face.
Yeah.
Right? Our profit margin is probably 0.10. So if 1% looked like that, it would be about 10 basis points. I don't know, maybe 20 basis points. But not much. It's just very thin because there's no risk. And the last piece of the equation. So if this restaurant goes out of business, we might lose $200, right? Now, if it's a travel merchant, it's doing the same exact 100K or $1 million a year, and the average revenue is 125 basis points, so it's 6 times the amount, right? Yeah. And if it goes out of business, we lose $500,000.
You hear that?
That's why very few people go after travel merchants. That's why there's only about 2 or 3 companies out there that either have deep enough pockets to really do it, or the other 2 or 3 that just lie and they take your money and they don't provide anything, you know?
Mark is
Let me
one
ask
of
you
them.
something.
Uh-huh.
Going back to the Aaron, on his website, on his businesses, would it be possible, even though he's in Panama, to do the e-pay thing in order for him to be able to do transactions?
We'd have to look at each business enterprise. So if he's a U.S. business with a U.S. bank account, he can use the ePay product from anywhere in the world. But it's going to have to either go back to a U.S. entity corporation or a Canadian corporation. And if we were in the EU, you know, that'd be another option depending upon where he is and where he may already have banking relationships in the US.
100% he is.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes, more than likely, but just again, to be thorough with the answer.
Okay, so go back to that
Okay.
travel.
So, you know, it's.
Why it's so expensive?
It's 6 times the profit.
Why is it profitable? And
Well,
that's Mark's
rate.
expertise.
Yeah, we're able to negotiate easily a 1.25% about in profit to us. In restaurants, it's all we can get, because everybody else is dropping their pants. And there's not that many people that are going after this business. The other dynamic is, forget about the risk for a second. In a typical restaurant, when you walk down the street, that's about all they might do, right? You're never gonna find one doing $1 million a month, or $2 million a month, or $10 million a month. We regularly find travel doing $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million a month. So, a month. So if it does $10 million a month, and it's a $5 million, or it's about a 5-month future delivery, that's about a $50 million risk. You think I can put a little bit of profit in that deal? It's such a big number. It's not hard. So, you know, I can go in and say, let's squeeze a penny into this thing and be happy type of thing, where there's only so much volume here, and then it's squeezed so tight because everybody's chasing that business that I take that business if it falls in my lap. But when I go knock on their door, they treat me like dog shit. So I just don't knock on their door. Yeah, credit card guy, fuck you guys.
So what's the difference? It's because Mark always says it's a loan to you as a.
Yeah, when we educate merchants, travel merchants particularly, I've got merchants been in the travel business for 20 years and didn't really understand why it was so high risk, you know, and simply explain to them that it's a loan, right? If you open up a merchant account and you tell me you're going to sell orange pens and you deliver green pens, every one of your customers is entitled to a chargeback. They're going to get all their money back. You're going to lose all the money you got. So to that extent, it's a loan. Because you've got to deliver what you say you're going to deliver, you know. And, you know, when they start thinking about that, it starts resonating, and finally it's like, okay, now I get it.
Yes.
So
For the travel, they don't go on travel until 6 months. They pay already. So who gets paid? We got paid.
Right.
But it's you who's holding it. Right? The merchant who sold the ticket, the salesman got paid.
well,
It's a loan to the merchant.
yes.
And that's why it's a big risk, but what if they want a refund? And it's huge.
The
So-
biggest part is that, you know, if I'm a travel merchant and I'm sending, let's say, the transaction to the airline, right? And my profit is built into the airline transaction. In other words, I send you a credit card transaction, you don't know necessarily whether it's going to show up as the airline or the hotel or the travel agency. It might show up as the airline, and what happens is the airline holds the money until the travel actually happens, and then they send me back my commission check.
Wow.
So I might have to wait 6 months to get paid commission, right? So we go to merchants
How
and
does
have
that business survive?
that have really deep pockets. So we go to a merchant that's in the travel business and say, look, if you go with ARC, who's the biggest host agency out there, you're going to get about 10% of the value of the transaction, and you're going to get it in about 90 days. With NTC, you get 100% the very next day. Which one do you want? Yeah, exactly. It doesn't take a lot of, you know.
He built that
So-
for 25 years.
And NTC is taking more of the risk.
Yeah.
That's why it's more.
Yeah, we share
it could be
liability
more
with the
profit.
bank.
Yeah.
That's why we also look at the
Right.
accounts and make sure that they look like they're solid, and if something looks like it's not right, then we've got the right team to bounce it off of. And another opportunity that just opened up yesterday, which was gambling.
Amway.
Gambling.
Gambling. Oh, wow.
Legalized state gambling. The Supreme Court said to the states, we can't not allow you to gamble in the state. So they overturned
That
the
was
decision yesterday. This is big
Wow.
news.
Yeah,
I already
it's sports.
sports gambling. Yeah. So we missed out on a deal by this.
Oh, wow.
And it was what do you call it, OTB, off off,
Is it OTC, over the counter, or that's
no,
us?
it's off-premise gambling. And the only state that it was illegal was Kentucky, because of the Kentucky Derby. It's all the horse racing. Well, they didn't want to allow any other state to handle horse racing for the Kentucky Derby, so they made it illegal. So they're trying to capture the whole thing. But anyway, it's going to open that back up, and our bank, if it's legal, because they are more entrepreneurial in spirit than normal bankers are, I'll get them to buy off on this stuff because it's legal. You know, it's like medical marijuana. If that was legal, we'd be doing that all day long. But it's not legal yet, according to the feds. It's like travel to Cuba. Travel to Cuba is illegal, even though there's a executive order that says you can do it. Congress hasn't passed any law that says you can do it. So it's only executive memorandi, which isn't law, and the banks don't recognize executive memorandi as law, so they don't change their rules. So we're kind of stuck in there, but man, are we ready to pull the trigger on some of this stuff if it changes with the new administration? Again, man.
I got you.
Cool stuff?
I got you.
Is
And
it, are you
slow me
getting on
down.
that?
If I start rattling stuff too fast and you didn't get it, stop me, because at the end of the day, the caffeine gets me wound up.
Isn't it, this is very helpful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, I have to learn it more.
Sure.
So whenever, like for example, the guy from the printing press,
Yep.
I know what he wants, but I have to be able to articulate to him what it is that we can offer. You see what I'm saying?
And if he's
here.
close, I'll jump in the car. We'll go visit him.
Because I told him, you know, you need to take some time to yourself and take some time to, you know, to come to the office and meet his lenders, you know, I mean, because he's running the shop by himself. He's pretty much, he runs everything.
Mhm.
And he knows he needs help.
Where's he located?
Close to the Miami International Airport.
Okay.
So I told him, you know, when are you available?
Right.
You need to take the time to yourself and
At least maybe a swing by, shake a
Yeah, I
hand,
mean,
just say, hey,
couple,
I'm a
you know,
human
2,
being,
3 hours,
whatever.
you know, I'm not saying you have to leave your business all day, but you
Right.
know, just
Right.
2, 3 hours to yourself and come and meet this people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But
Right.
I'm gonna follow with him.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow with him.
Like I say, maybe we can swing by one of our trips down to the Keys or down to Miami and just knock on his door. Sometimes it's just the little stuff, you know. I tell you, I've earned a lot of accounts by truly just, you know, I know I'm repeating myself, just telling the truth. I get asked a question, I don't know the answer, I tell you, I don't know. I'll go find out, you know, I'll be your advocate, I'll go hunt, I'll work, I'll slave, I'll do what I gotta do to make you happy. But telling people that I don't know the answer has actually earned me business, and sometimes I've even said that I don't know the answer when I did. You know what I mean? And they had us doing it kind of regularly, and it was too much of it felt like too much of like a con job. But there were times where I actually knew the answer. I didn't know the answer, and I said, "Well, hold on, let me check with the boss. If he does this on this price, can you do the deal?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I called my answer machine at home. "Hey, boss, how you doing?" Guy who did it. Felt like a total con job, but it really worked once or twice, and I guess it, you know, I was brought up by school teachers, so I know I'm not going to get away with faking it. I don't know, but I'll go find out. You don't have to be everybody's hero.
So is that interesting, that church? It's very interesting, don't you think?
Yeah.
Because they're
They're
using
doing PayPal right now.
all this
That's so.
expensive, there's another one that they're using, like the majority of the churches, but it's an arm and a leg, and they really don't know.
And just the ability to create that buy button, attach it to that item, and stick it on your website lets them, if they don't have the competency to really manage a website, it lets them do that because it
Because
just does a
most
lot
of
of
these
good.
The only way to
old-fashioned.
really get a hold of this pastor, because he is so busy, is to be able to convince him to devote at least 10 or 15 minutes via Skype in order for them to be able to. Because about 2 weeks ago, he was over there with Donald Trump when they had this like a pastor thing, Him and Paula White, and well, he has the biggest Spanish church in Miami. You know.
Send him this video. He knows, if he's that big, then he knows Dwayne Swilly.
He was with
Yeah.
The guy on this video?
Paula White, they were all with Trump.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
the White House.
Yeah.
He was among those pastors over there.
Wow.
So it's going to be really hard for him to get, come here.
Yeah, no.
It's just not going to happen.
I would send him this link. I would ask him to go look at the website. Just send him the NTC Gives. And when he sees that video, I bet you dollars to donuts, he's going to go, how do you know Dwayne? Dwayne's the first guy, tall white guy, the blonde-haired wife. His father started a church in Atlanta in just a real colored area and just a bad area, and he ended up becoming a pastor. His son is now a pastor in Pembroke Pines, and they've got, it's just amazing the family history and the people that he knows, the connections that he has within the church community. It's his cousin, it's like his second or third cousin or whatever, is the Crouch family, who is TBN.
This guy is they're very tight with the TBN.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
You have to send that the headline
his
is
daughter
never too busy
runs
to
their
make money.
county. So they're probably going to recognize Dwayne, so just try to get him to watch his video, and then we'll see what happens from there. But we'll hold their hand, we really do. We do give that concierge level approval type of service to walk them through whatever they need to accomplish. And they can't get PayPal on the phone, we know that. So what
And
they're doing
this
for us.
particular pastor, he's very business motivated because he actually conducts seminars
Mhm.
to small businesses